Hi everyone, my name is Faye. I need a vacation and I think you do too. So let's distract ourselves with some reality TV nonsense. I just started watching this new show on Bravo. It's called Gen NYC and it's actually really cool. Like I wasn't even gonna watch it at all, but then I thought, let me give it a quick try and I really enjoyed myself. It's really fun to see some of the housewives kids that we watched grow up kind of become these young adults navigating New York City. I really like that. We see Riley Burris. There's Ariana, who's Kim Zolciak's daughter. And of course, we see Brooks Marks, which is really funny because I did not like Brooks Marks on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. But on the show, he's kind of growing on me. Like, is that weird? I don't know. But yeah, the teaser for the season looks really exciting. I think it's going to be really fun, and I can't wait to review it with you guys. So in the first scene, we see Ariana, who again is daughter to Kim Zolciak and Kroy Biermann, who are now in the press for their divorce and her gambling and just being broke in general. So yeah, I don't know if you've heard of them. But yeah, she's walking the city with her two humongous dogs. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. She seemed so like down to earth and pleasant, and she seems really kind. I did not expect that at all. I kind of expected her to be more like her mother. And if you've watched The Real Housewives of Atlanta, I don't need to say any more than that. But yeah, she's looking for an apartment in New York. She just moved there with her boyfriend Hudson, who we'll learn more about later. In the next scene, Brooks and his mom, Meredith Marks, they're doing a photo shoot. I believe it's for a company, but I'm not sure. And I do have to say, because we meet his sister in this scene as well, her children look so much like her. All of her children do. They even have the same way of talking, like this very special Marks family inflection. Like I think it's really crazy and like really fun. But yeah, they're doing a photo shoot. Brooks introduces himself as a model, a designer, entrepreneur. And yeah, if you've watched The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, you've seen his fashion line, which back then consisted of tracksuits. No, actually, a tracksuit. It was a nice tracksuit, but it was a singular tracksuit. And so yeah, now he's also the creative director of his mother's company, and they're doing a photo shoot. And I have to say, like, it was very awkward. Was it just me? I felt a little weirded out. They had these strange outfits, or like not even just the outfits, but the wigs were bizarre. At one point, Brooks had on this pink, really wet looking weird kind of wig, and the positions they're doing are weird. I don't know. Like Brooks is laying in her lap, and then they're outside, and it's a lot going on. Like I have no idea what you would do with those type of photos. But yeah, they're taking the photos, and at some point, Charlie and Ava, who are also cast members, come in. They show up to support, and in the confessional, Charlie tells this little story about how he used to send Brooks photos of him and circle things and write like question marks or whatever. And Brooks kind of laughs it off awkwardly. And I thought that was so weird because, like, is that a way to support your friend who's, for the world to see on TV for the first time? Like, you take photos and write question marks? Like, it just seems kind of haterish and like that soft kind of bullying that some friends do to you. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But I don't like Charlie either, and we'll get to that. Charlie in general seems like he's this attention seeker, wannabe, class clown, always has to make sure the attention's on him and he's the loudest in the room. And he immediately does that, walking into the photo shoot, starts making stupid jokes and playing around with the water hose. And I don't know, didn't like it. Ava, for some reason, finds that, or it seems to me that she finds that to be cute or endearing. Cannot relate. That's weird. Next, we see Ariana and her boyfriend Hudson. They've been dating on and off for 9 years, I believe, and currently have been dating for 2 years. And yeah, they're sitting down to lunch to discuss the family drama. I was so surprised, but Ariana is incredibly open about everything that's going on with her and her family. And yeah, I did not know this, but it seems that Ariana has been wildly successful on Instagram ever since she was 14 years old. So she had her first big brand deal at 14. She's made all this money, but apparently it's all gone. And she has no idea when it was all taken or how much she even made, how much was taken, but she does know by whom. And come to find out, it's her parents. Her parents took all of her money. She says there was never any transparency. There was no honesty. It was only lies, lies, lies. Apparently, not only did her parents steal from her, but her mother still regularly asks her for money. To the point where Hudson is kind of feeling uncomfortable with it, especially now, they want to move in together. I think it's such a shame. I think it's so backwards. That makes me really sad. She's just living her lifestyle and funding it with her daughter's money. Like, apparently she always has since her daughter was 14. So yeah, that's kind of messed up. And of course, Ariana is really torn because she obviously is not comfortable with continuously lending her mother money either. But then she thinks with her siblings, and also she says that she doesn't want to destroy a family relationship over money, which I totally understand. Next, we see Brooks and Chloe, Charlie and Ava at the club. We also meet Georgia. Brooks describes Georgia as quintessentially New York, grew up on the Upper West Side. She's like this socialite who either is working or going out, socializing. So yeah, that is her. We learned some more about Charlie. Apparently, Charlie is not only a weirdo, but he also loves to be late. And the way he introduced Brooks to Georgia was by inviting him to an event of hers. And then he actually didn't show up, or he showed up after 7 hours. As an introvert, I would have probably just went home. Charlie then asks Chloe on a date. Again, why? Weird. You're almost 30. She's 23. Actually, she's 22 still. I mean, I know a lot of people would say that's not a big age gap, but he gives old energy and he's just weird. I don't know. I'm sorry to this man. Next, we get a little deeper into Ava. She's walking through the city with her family and we hear more of her story. So she's actually the daughter of Damon Dash, who co-founded Rockefeller Records with Jay-Z. And her mother is Rachel Roy, who's a fashion designer. So she tells us that she's been a model pretty much her whole life, and now she's just really starting to take it seriously and to see how far it goes. So then we see Charlie at the hair salon. He's getting a haircut. He tells us a little more about himself. He tells us the things he loves most in life are money, girls, and fun. He describes himself as a cryptocurrency trader. And first I was a little bit impressed. I was like, oh, okay, he does have his career going for him, even though I don't like him. But then he says that his father, who's a retired investment banker, he actually gives him the money to invest. So his father gives him money, he invests that money in cryptocurrencies, and that's his job. And then at the end, he makes this little joke with the hairdresser. He's like, oh, I'm going to pretend that I'm paying with my card, but you're actually going to put it on my dad's tab. And I'm like, wow. You're, again, almost 30 and you can't even pay for your own haircut. Georgia, Ava, and Charlie go out to lunch. We see Georgia get ready for the lunch and she's combing her hair with a fork. Like a wannabe Ariel. No, don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, at the lunch, we learn a little bit more about Georgia. She tells us that she's from a multi-generational New York family on her mother's side. And she describes herself as having grown up somewhere between poor and middle class. And she says she is a certified hustler baby. So yeah. Other than that, what was notable at that lunch, I don't know if you caught it, but if you go back to the part where Charlie mentions his upcoming date with Chloe, I thought Ava reacted a little weirdly. She was a little, she was a little irritated. The next person we meet is Amira. I did not know her before, but I love her. She describes herself as a content creator and model. She actually went to NYU, which I thought was really impressive. Amira had her glow up in New York. She said she went from crusted, busted, and dusted to that bitch. And period. She's loving New York, loving the life. She was even able to buy her family a home, which I love. And I have to say, if I haven't said it yet, Amira is absolutely beautiful. And what's even more impressive is her resume. Not only did she go to NYU, she was actually the beauty editor, I believe, of Paper Magazine. And she's now about to walk in her first real fashion show. Of course, she's done some modeling with, through being a content creator, but now this is a real actual model show. Then we actually see Chloe and Charlie on their date, which Brooks is kind of uncomfortable about, which I completely understand. First of all, a friend dating your sister, but then also that friend, no ma'am. But yeah, they date. I just don't like the look in Charlie's eyes. Like when he looks at Chloe, I don't like the way he keeps licking his lips at her. And he tells her the story about a skateboarding accident, and he makes it seem like people thought he was bitten by a shark and he was dripping in blood. But then they show the pictures and he just has like scraped knees and elbows. And I mean, not scraped, I mean, they were bleeding, like the top layer of the skin was off, like whatever. But like for him to say people thought he was bitten by a shark, like that's a bit much. I mean, wow, that's crazy. And now, finally, we meet Riley. I was wondering, like, where is my girl Riley? Why has she not shown up yet? But yes, we see Riley Burris, as I've said before. She's the daughter of Candy Burris, who is a star, period. I mean, she was in Escape. She's written so many songs for people. And of course, she was on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Sadly, she isn't anymore. I do miss her, actually. So Riley just graduated from NYU. She majored in music business, and she really wants to work in the music industry. She says that her mother has given her 1 year to figure all that out before she financially cuts her off. But please, I don't believe that. I don't think anyone believes that. Again, if you've seen The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Candy does not play about her children. She does not play about Riley, and she's not cutting anyone off. And if she were to cut anyone off, it would not be Riley. Trust and believe. So apparently there was a text. Charlie sent Brooks a text basically being like, oh, we should meet up after the date unless Chloe and I are at my apartment already, of course. Basically insinuating that he and her might get physical, might get intimate or whatever, to Brooks, who's her brother. And, obviously Brooks did not appreciate that. That made him wildly uncomfortable. And thought it was very inappropriate, which I agree. So of course Brooks brings it up to his sister. They have a FaceTime, and Chloe is like astounded, and she's basically like, you wish, as if. Next, Brooks meets up with Riley. They do some shopping, and yeah, he kind of asks Riley's opinion about the whole text situation. Yeah, and Riley is also incredulous that Charlie would do something like that. She says that's wildly inappropriate and just out of pocket, and would make her upset also. And she says in her confessional that Charlie's someone who likes to instigate things and rile people up, and then he just likes to laugh it off. And that's kind of in line with the impression that I have from him, or at least his character on the show. Obviously, we don't know any of these people in real life. Brooks, poor Brooks, he is left now with the daunting task of approaching Charlie, talking about this, clearing it up, and he's already anxious, very uncomfortable. He hates confrontation, he hates conflict, and yeah, he's not looking forward to bringing that up. They also talk about Ariana and Riley, the relationship, and how they kind of fell out of touch after their mothers fell out. If you've watched The Real Housewives of Atlanta, you know what caused it. I'm not going to say anything other than don't be tardy for the party. If you know, you know. In the next scene, Charlie and his friends Dylan and Shay, I believe, or Shy, I apologize if I mispronounced his name. They play some basketball. It's actually kind of a throwaway scene. The only thing that I think is worth mentioning is that even his friends wouldn't trust him to go out with their sisters, which I believe says a lot about his character. In the next scene, we see Ariana and Hudson looking at apartments because remember, they just moved to New York. And I love that scene. I don't know, there's something about looking at real estate that I really enjoy, especially if it's like high-end real estate or in a city like New York. It's really cool. It's fun to me. Here's the thing though, they're not quite of one mind, shall we say. Hudson apparently comes from a very wealthy, privileged family. His father is the co-founder, I believe, of Zaxby's Chicken, which is a $2 billion company that has been around for about 40 years. So he's not concerned with the money at all. He's more so looking at it like he wants the apartment to meet certain criteria and he wants to be comfortable. While Ariana is more of on a fixed income and she's very determined that she wants to contribute to the apartment financially, which I completely get. Like, you never want to be in the situation to be dependent on a man or have a man, you know, kick you out, threaten to kick you out, even just hold it over your head. That's never a good feeling. So I get where she's coming from. And they already have their budget set at, I believe, $6,000 to at the maximum $8,000 a month in New York, which to me already seemed kind of low. Like, that's not going to be a lot. And, you know, come to find out, it's not. They looked at an apartment which was way too small and the ceilings were way too low and just not, you know, it was a nice apartment, but they actually weren't that happy with it. And Hudson especially just was not feeling it. And then the realtor was like, yeah, you guys are going to need to double your budget, which, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Like, imagine spending $12,000 a month. A month, that's more than 120K a year on an apartment. Insane. But then again, you live in New York, and if you can, go for it. Not me though. That's why I'm doing a vacation with you guys. Finally, it's time for Amira's big moment, her fashion show. We meet Gia, who is Teresa Giudice's daughter from Real Housewives of New Jersey. I actually have to say I have not watched New Jersey, but I still know who Teresa Giudice is. Like, you just know, you see clips online, she flipped the table. I've seen her on Ultimate Girls Trip, so yeah, I know who she is. So yeah, since I don't watch The Real Housewives of New Jersey, I don't really know Gia, but she seems really sweet, really kind. She's also very beautiful, just like Riley and Ariana, like everyone on the show, basically. And yeah, she just talks about the crazy drive into the city from New Jersey and that it has to be worth it, which I totally get. So everyone arrives at the fashion show, and Brooks, which I have to say, Brooks seems to be the only one who actually brought something. He brought a sweet little bouquet of roses, I believe. And of course, here comes Charlie having to criticize Brooks about the bouquet. He kind of teases him about it. And I'm like, that is so insecure. Like, just because you regret not bringing, you know, anything, you have to make someone else. I just hate people who have to belittle other people to feel better about themselves. And I feel like he's someone like that. So did not like that at all. I don't know why nobody sees this. I don't know why any of these people are friends with Charlie. I don't, like, it's not clicking to me. Yeah, and in that vein, Brooks mentions that he feels, well, he says this in his confessional, that he feels steamrolled by Charlie a lot. And you can already tell, like, at the fashion show, his mind isn't on it at all. He's so anxious, like, so tense, like already dreading the confrontation, already dreading saying something. And I feel really bad for him as someone who's very anxious myself and kind of introverted. I get the feeling, and I really feel bad for Brooks. But yeah, back to the fashion show. It's a gothic kind of fashion show. It's a little dark. They have all these red lights and very interesting garments. Amira closes the show, which is a big, big honor. You know, being the first and last face is always a big thing. So I'm happy for her. And she did a really, really good job. After the fashion show, everyone heads out to the bar. We also learn a bit more about Georgia in her confessional. She says that she's thrown a lot of big events. She did an event with Diplo. She even did an event for Anna Delvey while she, you know, was on house arrest. And yeah. All this time, poor Brooks is sitting there like so anxious, so uncomfortable, and he tells his friend Gia about the Charlie text. which then Charlie overhears, which kind of annoys him, which obviously I get. Brooks, however, is not willing or able to really bring it up to him directly, so Gia helps him out, and that in turn annoys Charlie, who kind of feels like Brooks is using her as his mouthpiece, which I have to say, fair, fair point. Brooks then finally chimes in his own confrontation and says that he just didn't want to bring it up because it's not the appropriate time or place, which I have to say, Brooks, if it's not the appropriate time or place, why did you even bring it up to Gia at all? Just be honest. Like, conflict is hard for you, But yeah, then obviously Brooks is now forced to talk to Charlie about it. He's being very diplomatic, very polite. You could even say he's couching his feelings. Brooks is just so scared of offending Charlie. And even though he's so careful, Charlie's still annoyed, and he gives Brooks this passive-aggressive apology. But then, of course, in the confessional, he's saying he's not sorry. He doesn't even know what he should be sorry for. Other than that, there are these two situations with Georgia. So basically, when she walks in, when Ava walks in, I should say, she comes straight from a Manolo Blahnik event, and she's showing them her beautiful shoes that I guess she got or whatever, bought. And they're all admiring the shoes. And what does Georgia do? She seriously takes her hand and she touches like the bottom of the shoe. I don't know why. I've never seen anyone do that ever. But yeah, she does it, and everyone's like really, grossed out by it. And then after she touches the bottom of someone's shoe, a shoe that has walked all over New York City, she takes her hand, like her finger, and puts it in her eye like this. Oh my God, that is insane, crazy. Not only that, after the whole Charlie Brooks situation is over or whatever, Georgia announces that she has to piss, which I don't know, I think is so uncouth. I don't know, did not like that. But yeah, they go to the bathroom and Georgia does not wash her hands. Like, she just doesn't wash her hands. And Riley catches it and she's like, "Are you not gonna wash your hands?" And Georgia's like, "Oh, I don't really believe in that." And then she tells us in the confessional that she wasn't raised to wash her hands, which is wild. And she tells the girls that she, grew up touching worms and eating candy off the sidewalks. She's never sick. She believes it's from not washing her hands. That's wild to me. Obviously, they're really grossed out. And then by the end of it all, Georgia shows the girls her manicure. And Riley's like, "Oh, I would touch your hand, but you didn't wash it." Which is already like an awkward moment. But then things kind of come to a head at the, close of the scene where everyone gets to say goodbye. And Georgia goes in for a hug to Riley. And Riley's like, "Oh, please don't touch me. You didn't wash your hands." Which I completely get. Like, not only did she pee and not wash her hands, she actually touched the bottom of someone's shoe and didn't wash her hands. So I would not want her touching me either, like, at all. But Georgia's really offended by this. She's like, "Oh my God, my body, my choice. Don't tell me what to do with my body. Like, I don't have to wash my hands. Why are you telling me what to do?" Yeah, and I thought it was so distasteful to bring up my body, my choice in regards to her not wanting to wash her hands, because that's not what that is about. And it is her body and her choice. And if she chooses not to wash her hands, again, that's the wrong term for that, but whatever, let's stay with her terminology. If she chooses not to wash her hands, that's fine. However, Riley has the right to decide what to do and what not to do with her body and what other people are going to do in regard to her body. And if she doesn't want your dirty, grimy, filthy little hands to touch her, then that's fine. That is her choice. That doesn't mean she's deciding for you. That doesn't mean she's making you do anything with your body. No, she's just saying, respect my space, respect my body. And I just didn't like that. That was very Karen Georgia. So that was the episode. Like I said, I've really enjoyed myself. I will definitely keep reviewing the show. I know I'm a few episodes behind, but I will catch up, people, I promise. And I hope to see you next time for our next vacation. Until then, have a great day, and I can't wait. Bye.